That video of a deadly 747 cargo plane crash in Afghanistan. This is dash cam video from a truck on the perimeter of the airport. It just happened to catch this huge 747 just after takeoff. It reaches an altitude on climb out of about 1,200 feet. Then the jet plummets to the ground. The 7 American pilots and crew members on board were killed. And for that reason, we want to warn you, the video, which we will show, is very disturbing. The plane finally explodes into a giant fireball, killing all 7 people on board. Peter Goelz is former managing director of the National Transportation Safety Board and also someone who worked on a plane crash investigation that took place in Afghanistan. Peter, I know that one of the things you do at the NTSB is you do not jump to conclusions. But on first glance at the video, and I know you've seen the full thing, what are your thoughts?
Well, it looks like the aircraft got, as you said, got to about 1,200 feet, then stalled, and the pilot attempted to recover, and he simply ran out of airspace. But you're right, you know, we've seen these kinds of accidents before in cargo. 1997, a fine airplane, some cargo got loose, pitched to the back of the plane. The plane pitched up, stalled, crashed outside of Miami. We saw a similar accident in Sacramento, and everyone believed that it, again, was cargo getting loose because the performance of the plane was very similar. We found out in that accident, though, that, in fact, a elevator of the aircraft and the cable connecting it had failed, and the pilot simply could not control the airplane. So it's a little soon to speculate, but certainly attention is going to be focused on the cargo, what happened, listening to the voice recorder and the data recorder.
And for our viewers who don't know the difference, a stall, when you talk about it, is a wing stall. The wings lose the ability to lift, and we'll get into that in a moment. The engines were apparently working fine on this 747. I want to play, for this one time only, the entire video of the crash as it was captured by this passing vehicle and show our viewers what happened one time. You can see the plane there in the upper right-hand portion of the screen. It is climbing, and then it starts to rock. That's always indicative of a stall, right, Peter?
Yes, it is. By this time, the stick shaker in the cockpit is going off.
It exploded in a fireball, and again, there were 7 Americans on board who lost their lives. Now, one thing that I noticed that struck me as interesting was that the landing gear was deployed. The wheels were down. Normally, at 1,200 feet, they wouldn't, you know, they'd be already tucked up in the belly of the plane. Does that tell you anything?
Well, I think that could indicate that this flight crew had their hands full very early in the takeoff process. And lifting the gear was probably one of the last things on their mind. They might have been fighting for control right from the very start.
One of the things that the pilots have to do when they're taking off from Bagram as well as from Kabul is get high very quickly. I know that because, you know, there are occasionally insurgents on the ground with, you know, some kind of rocket-propelled grenade or something. They want to get those airplanes up in the air very quickly. Could that have been a factor?
Well, you do. I mean, in both at all of the airports in Afghanistan, even particularly the small fire bases, you get in and get out quickly, and that certainly will be a factor. They need to, you know, they need to be getting up fast.
If that cargo shifted to the back of the plane, that could have spelled doom for all 7 on board. Peter Goelz, thank you, and we'll be right back.